Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Shining Light video podcast, where I shine a light on my guests and the positivity they're spreading in their communities today. I am joined by CEO of Family Services, Leah Feldman. I'm also joined by the Dutchess County Sheriff's Department Sergeant Alonzo Montonia, and from the Department of Emergency Services, we have Melissa joining us as well. Unfortunately, their cameras are not working right now. It might kick in midway through this, but they are here. Say hello, Melissa and Alonzo.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
So they're here with us, and then we have Leah Feldman. You are joining us today because we're kicking off in the month of October, a really, really special initiative here at the Shining Light. What you see in the title is End Stigma Stories. And Leah Feldman will be able to elaborate a little bit more on this, and we're going to share more stories about mental health throughout the month. But what Leah did last year was she ran 50 miles in one day in order to raise awareness for mental health. She did those 50 miles with one of her friends, and other people like myself and county executives and other people joined her. This year, she has a group of ambassadors joining her running 50 miles. And I believe we have some of our ambassadors on with us today. Is that right?
We have some very special people on with us today that are helping us shine the light and spreading the message for us.
That's awesome. So what I'd like to do now, I know we can't see you guys, Melissa and Alonzo, but what I'd like to do now is kind of move into the space of sharing the stories around mental health, letting everyone know, of course, that if you'd like to join us, it's 52ndstigma.org, and that's put on by Family Services. But Melissa and Alonzo, if you could share a little bit about why you're deciding to run with Leah and why this cause means so much to you, but also to our region here in the Hudson Valley.
Yeah, absolutely. I had the pleasure of running alongside Leah last year, not for the full 50 miles, but I did join them for about a 10-mile leg. For me personally, at that time, I was actually training to run the Chicago Marathon, which was like the following week. And I was running for a charity called First Help, which they are nationally known, and they assist families and agencies dealing with first responder suicide. I've been tied in with that charity for several years and had the privilege to represent them, officers lost suicide, and families. So that was a tremendous honor in that. My story over the years, Melissa and Leah have come to know. But I faced some hardships in life throughout my career as a law enforcement officer, and just trying to navigate, those life crises while being a first responder. And then, as the years progress, hearing how other people weren't as fortunate, I just wanted to make sure that we did something to encourage that our first responder brothers and sisters were being supported so that we could drive those statistics down and hopefully one day make them be non-existent. And we're at a very fortunate time right now here in Dutchess County where first responder wellness and mental health is being supported at the county executive level. And the sheriff here, Sheriff Perkin Parati, was happy to jump on board. And because of the adversities and the resilience that I've shown over the years, I was designated as the law enforcement liaison. And then I'm going to turn it over to Melissa Lawler to let her talk about what she's doing in that program and what she's aspiring to do and how I'm helping her get there.
Melissa, I'm going to pause you just for 1 second, Melissa. Hold that thought. Jot a few notes down for a second here, only because, Alonzo, you said a lot of significant things there, and I just want to stay there for one moment for all of our viewers and listeners, because Leah's running to raise awareness for mental health. And last year you ran, and you ran in conjunction to first responders, and this is to raise awareness for suicide of first responders. And obviously a very deep subject that we're not going to be able to get too far into today. But what I'd like to kind of address here is just some of the things that you learned. And you mentioned how you've been able to improve your mental health. Some of the things that you've learned and have done in order to kind of help yourself compartmentalize the stresses of being a first responder, and then the mental in improving your mental health. So obviously being active and exercise was one of them, as running in the Chicago Marathon. And what are maybe one or two other things that our listeners and viewers can share with the people in their communities?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. And I think it's important to note for me, it was identifying, the struggles I was facing and trying to move away from a culture change where we are first responders are a very sheltered group. We look to lean on those around us in our career paths because we feel at times that they're the only people that understand us. And to a degree, that's true, right? We experience trauma at a level several hundred times greater than that of the average person. The average person is experiencing 2 to 3 significant traumas in their lifetime, whereas a first responder is experiencing 300 to 800. But in doing that, we also, it's kind of a double-edged sword. I hate to say it because we isolate ourselves from other people whom we may actually have had relationships with if we were just willing to open up. But in the culture, there's a stigma that's there. You hear the term the rubber gun squad, that if you open up about mental health issues and struggles, that you would be taken off of patrol and maybe placed in a position that you was negatively viewed by people when they're actually trying to open up and look for help. And that can be deafening, I guess. It causes people to just go silent because you're trying to get help, but you're almost being punished in that process. And I think that it's important to understand that while that could be a possibility in the recovery process, it is that people willing to come forward want to be supported. And I think as time has progressed here locally for us, we've experienced first responder suicide. And one of the families that I was able to represent last year was a local family whom the officer was familiar to me, and out of respect for the family, I'll just keep that at that level at this point. But I did, with their blessing and permission, get to honor their family member that was lost to suicide. And I think as we say, as much of it's not an issue and we need to move forward, the 2,195 first responder suicides that have been reported to First Help since 2016, when they began tracking data, shows that it's problematic and why we have to give it attention. We have this culture of people, as I just said, experiencing these major traumas day in, day out, not having the ability or time or the tools to process them. So, we have to be better as a culture. And I think that, that what's nice is you're starting to see that change happen. And the reality is the change has to start from the top. And that's probably the biggest culture hurdle. But again, here in Dutchess County, we are very fortunate that we have a county executive and a sheriff, and even a lot of local police departments that are on board with this, as well as the fire departments. I think actually we've seen more of a significant push, and I think Melissa can vouch for this, from our fire agencies recognizing, and the commonality is that the coping mechanism is either to be silent, or people are looking into things like drinking, and it's not like 1 or 2 cocktails. People are drinking excessive amounts of alcohol to numb out the pain and hope that the things go away. And in the process, you're actually perpetuating more health problems. And alcohol is a depressant, and that the spiral doesn't go up; it goes downward. And and we need to be better than where we have been as a culture to make sure that that's not happening anymore.
Thank you for articulating all of that, and I think that is a perfect way to kind of segue into you, Melissa. But for everybody listening, everything that Alonzo just shared with us, what we just heard there is it has to be a culture shift. So culturally, obviously, in the law enforcement departments, but even in your workplace, wherever you're listening or watching this right now, in your workplace, in your family, it's a culture shift. It's a different way of looking at it. I also like that you highlighted isolation. Isolation is one of the leading causes to depression. When we isolate ourselves from other people, now we're sinking deeper and deeper. So I love that you said that as well, that we have to connect with other people. And this is a great way to connect right now. Everybody watching, if you know somebody, Leah has amazing resources at Family Services to help you. And of course, we have Alonzo and Melissa on right now, which also have wonderful resources. And so speaking of those resources, Melissa Lawler has been tasked with the programming and policy and training for first responders wellness. So Melissa, share a little bit about this initiative, what you're doing there, and how you're supporting everybody.
Okay. Can you hear me all right, Michael? I'm sorry.
We can.
All right, great. Thank you. So thank you so much for having me on. And hi, Leah. It's so nice to see you. For giving us an opportunity to be able to talk about this. So I want to again highlight that the county exec has been gracious enough to push forward the initiatives for first responders, and also the Department of Emergency Response Commissioner Dana Smith and the Deputy Commissioner Sean Castano have been so extremely supportive of this. 8 months ago, I was tasked with a brand new role. It's the first one in New York State, and that's the Deputy Coordinator for First Responder Health and Wellness. I am full of ideas about where we can go with this role and what we can provide for the first responders of Dutchess County. And the first thing that we hit head on was mental health. We know that first responders have high levels of anxiety and depression. Their coping mechanisms sometimes are not entirely healthy, and there's rooms for area to improve and bridges that gaps that we can bridge together. And it comes down to education. My background as a healthcare provider, I'm able to bring in the evidence-based resources to provide that education to the first responders in Dutchess County. And I also want to highlight the fact that under our umbrella for this is law enforcement, fire, EMS, public safety, 911 dispatchers, probation, and corrections. So we're hitting all 6 services in the county. And the first thing, like I said, we started was resiliency awareness, and we're moving into more education for that for the fall, with beginning to build the peer support aspect within when all the agencies within Dutchess County.
You mentioned education, and education is really a big piece to all of this. Very, very similar to what you just said, Alonzo, in terms of education, of like recognizing that you have a problem, not isolating yourself, having this culture shift, stepping up and supporting each other. In terms of the education that you guys provide, what are some of the things that the people who are involved in it, what are they learning? What are some of the skills that they're learning in this?
So what I've done is taken all the evidence-based resources that are out there, and I've been able to put them in with Alonzo. We are teaching this first responder resiliency awareness class, and we take to them all the aspects of what they face coming into the role when they're this fresh, shining face of, I'm like ready to go out into the community and help, right? That's what they want to do. And then they start getting exposed to some traumatic events, and then their bucket begins to fill. And so we're giving them tools in their toolbox to be able to use and to help mitigate some of the overfilling of that bucket, so they don't become, as Alonzo likes to say, that jiffy popcorn. You remember that on the stove and it explodes with the popcorn, right? So we don't need them. We're hopefully going to get to them before they get to that explosion part. And some of the tactics that we're giving is obviously building the peer support. We know that that's one of the main factors that helps decrease depression, anxiety, and it helps decrease the suicide ideations and suicide in and of itself. We're also looking at, we know sleep deprivation really affects the brain, and it plays a huge part in the way that the brain functions for mental health. So as first responders, depending on what your shift is, you may have sleep deprivation, and it builds up over time. And the less your brain is able to repair in REM sleep, the more mental health component that you'll have. It won't be as well. You'll end up with some more health issues. Then we go into some diet. I look at exercise with them. We know exercise is really a huge factor for mental health because even 10 minutes a day, it's going to change your component of how you think. So I think that Leah, and when you guys meet Chris, I'm sure he'll be on soon. The fact that they're running 52 miles in a day is so inspirational to me. And because I'm telling you right now, I couldn't even do once around a track running. So like, I'm fully supportive of this walking, and I'm going to bike. So I think that they are, listen, their feet are on the ground and they're running in a pair in sneakers and they're sweating and they're putting the equity in this. And it's up to us to be able to stand there and support them and be behind them. And we're doing this together. And I believe so strongly in what First Families is doing for the area, for the Hudson Valley.
That's so great, and the work that you both are doing in the county, working with the county executive, stepping outside of, like you said, that what you call the rubber gun, stepping outside of that and being this person, Alonzo and Melissa, that people can count on and can go to and know that they have this support system around them. We obviously applaud you, and this is why we're doing what we're doing, why Leah kicked this off. And so with that being said, Leah, I'm going to give you the mic in a second, but I just want to share with everybody, you can take part in this. You do not have to run 52 miles in one day. And Melissa, I'm going to throw the challenge your way too, honey. You do not need to run 52 miles in one day, just 10 minutes a day, as you said, Melissa, in your own words, right? Everybody can take part in this. You could walk 10 minutes, you can jog 10 minutes, you could run, you can bike, you can hike. I just got back from Minnewaska with my girls. They had off today, and we just did a 15-minute hike there and 15-minute back, kind of checked out the really great visitor center. So it's all about being active. This is really going to help with mental health. So visit 52ndstigma.org, jump on a team, be a part of this community with us. Leah, you are running 52 miles. Last year, you ran 50 miles to raise $50,000 towards this campaign. And of course, it's awareness. I just looked at the numbers. We are just in the beginning of the month, and you already are at $29,000. So there is so much more support this year behind you. I know you have a big vision for this, a big goal for it. We know that you will get there. The question I have for you in terms of all of this is how you believe people like Melissa and Alonzo and Kerry and your team and all the people who support you, myself included in all of this, how you believe that this can help not just raise awareness, but end the stigma that surrounds mental health.
Well, first of all, thank you. Thank you particularly to Michael and Melissa and Alonzo for your energy around this. So when I came up with this idea on a Saturday morning run about a year and a half ago, I asked myself if people would buy into this, right? If I was just going to go out and run 50 miles and it was going to be a flop. And the more people I talked to, Alonzo being one of the first, Michael, I think you were the actual first person I said on air to. Yeah. And when people said, yeah, like, we believe in you, you got this, this is cool. Every single time someone says that, it brought my energy forward to like, this could actually happen. And when I have my team, Kerry, and behind me to say like, yeah, this is going to happen. We can do this. It's not just about me. Yes, I'm out there pounding the pavement and running, but it takes a whole community. And that to me is metaphorical of how we help people thrive in the community, right? It is with the support of community. It is with my team. They're calling themselves the support squad. I can't do it without, yes, the literal support of someone bringing some water and some fuel, but the communal support of people just saying like, you got this, you can do this. That is what we are all doing for each other, right? And we're passing it on. One of the mottos I keep saying during this campaign is ask a friend how they're doing today and pass it on, right? And as we continue to do that, we believe that together as a community and as a region, we are going to thrive. So I can't do it alone. I can't thank you all enough, and pass the word, pass it on, just pass it on, pass on the vibe. 50to-end-stigma.org. That's FIFTY, the number 2 endstigma.org. Check it out. It's a movement, and you're going to want to be part of
it. It's an amazing movement. There's going to be a book that's going to come out of it. I know it, Leah. It's going to be hundreds of people running with you very, very soon. And so to that point, everyone, I want to thank you all for watching. We're going to be doing these stories every week, 1 o'clock on Thursdays. And our next person that will be joining us, our next ambassador who's part of this campaign, is Lori Roberts. And she's the executive director for the Walkway Over the Hudson, which Leah and her squad, her support squad, will be crossing, will be running across. I know that we also are going to have some walks across the Walkway Over the Hudson and so much more to share there. So tune in next Thursday at 1 p.m. Before I wrap this up, I want to, of course, ask Melissa or Alonzo if you have any final thoughts that you would like to share with our community of watchers and listeners today.
Just join up and support us. We're doing this. All of us are doing this together. So I'm so proud to be involved in it.
Right. And I think, Leah and Chris, they're just amazing people doing amazing things for the community. And, regardless, the point here is, while we're highlighting first responders, this could be anybody. So just, to know the signs and to be able to offer intervention and support for people that need it before ultimately the worst decision possible can be made. That's, I think, the goal here is through everything. We are human beings being human beings, looking out for human beings. And I appreciate and applaud Leah and Chris for shedding light to this, because unfortunately it is problematic in the profession of being a first responder, and the trauma that is experienced throughout a career. We need to work through it in a better fashion than we are or have been handling. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Of course, thank you both for your service to our community. We really, really appreciate it. If you or somebody you know is struggling, is dealing with depression, is feeling not like themselves, please make sure to contact one of us here on this call today. Go to familyservices.org. You can certainly find the support there. I'm sure you can find Melissa or Alonzo's contact. Everybody will be communicating in the chats, but we can always connect you with the right people. And of course, I'm a resource to all of you. So please do that. My last plea here is visit 50,2, Stigma.org. Join a team, make a donation, go for a walk, run, or hike, or bike ride, and be a part of this movement. Leah, final words?
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
That's beautiful. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Join us next Thursday at 1 p.m. where we'll have Lori Roberts. This has been The Shining Light. Stay happy and stay healthy, everyone. Have a great day. Bye, everyone.